nurse way oman fan kura kwan so e no mutiatia de fan wudi so a me ekobe gina ha am make sure say e wo say mra no ene raf di e wo say nurse ni so hu say obi na hye nechi nipa bi na hye nechi ena ka chen say onye de oye no na onim say enya no kurekroje ena ema de oye de na wanhwe ya ono ankasa obe end up in jail.
And also the way I want minister Kasana one minister cranty as a why saying the way I will kasa say I will kasa say professional the catch the messages no I really have to scan through at him the day half.
And Jimmy Fourway was basically out of chains and speaking like a madman. And then a minister no call do hona and the police in the direction. I don't want my police in no anche Rafumo police station. We are kwasia with Jimmy.
Over. And I may say, oh, Mammy go scanner Mukasa, a brap and infant into Quano. And I can miss Madame Fubian your problem, Tinka, and Kaye Pibia Quaco solving Tinka more. Ah, Madame for a Ralph, there or call Rich Hospital, you or call sorting nurse, and no. Nurse in the nurse, you know, well, soon 7 million Ghana cities, it is kind of 70 billion. What you say, share, auntie, I just I just am moya na ma misi kana kasa bran fan tukwana. Mo de biba ne de kokko no na because yes adia on the home betire no. On say yes o yonko da no da. Bible so say wa anya amanu na wa anya amame. 70 billion and do the catch ma me. I wanya kwantu no na aye den. I say the rough ba kotum. Mate yo. Ebusia chia me anim asem ka osenana wasumu a ye pade a se ye sika sanko eni edi konkonsa se ye sika sa enso eye different nurse ni a ose Raf assorting no ni din e dey rejoice finally we see Raf 7 million Ghana cedis me say 7 million Ghana cedis it is sika no 70 billion ebusia Kevin Ekwedu Taylor abe react na yen kan kire eye Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association secretary no Yera Dr. Tim Klein say wonyame score every Kevin Taylor akache enra onyame score enenso wasenya score mebrem not a story no ase aha AJ gossips feel free nature wadwe no we are one is we be share among you binsa etumi aka enti afei ma memfa wonante enti me bia ni ndi ama odi ade asi enyina ne se nurse ni ani din e dey rejoice ese Raf assorting nti wasiwu no ai ono oni ahoden a ode beko ama ne ho enti no or the asem no akodan court na busia ye kan bibia bomu no we 5 million we 2 million say aye 7 million Ghana cedis statistica no 70 billion e busia enti Ralph benya sikai kela betua na se wontua obenya sikai atua ana wonya sikai entua e busia asem no akodu Kevin Taylor enim yentie
enti yenyina yehu nurse no say okọ court na okọ no o demand for a year what we call a year or demanded for 7 million Ghana cedis. Tete Ghana scano better than 70 billion. Sika also operano or say Ralph sorting or hospital. So person who nurse na only this is the nurse or the Ralph echo a year hospital a court sorry. This is the nurse now our court is Siano. The dean at the a year the dean a year rejoice Toto Botei, that's her name. Rejoice Toto Botei. She needs to prove in court. Say, she needs to provide witnesses. She needs to make sure assembly all kind of court to she's going to be under oath. She has to make sure because here you never see who has something no cre. Say, they all can woman I was say court action Rafason. Because we will not condone anything like that. Say nurse na sama oka or they copy court or say court and 7 million Ghana manono. Yeah, investigations ni nyina could see. Court tena se near to tona no under oath. Na dia oka nyina ye no kre. Say ye tietia na yasi pie pra no bu ni nsem a ema nipa 50 wura ho ni nyina no a. Na ye wie na evidence ni show clearly. Say Ralph and then accomplices the omo ye na e was say court etwe Ralph aso. Na Ghana ehun se emra e wo Ghana. Inti nurse no onie. This is the nurse. We are going to bring you her profile because honestly, Obi ano ye Jumama Ghana. As I sit here, I would love to protect every nurse in Ghana. Mempese Obi abe harm nurse bia. Mempese Obi abe frustrating nurse bia. Mempese you protect your nurses. It is a no crese nurse way. Oman fan kura kwanso eno mo tietia de fan wudi so a me ekobe gina ha am make sure say e wo say mra no ene Ralph di. E wo say nurse ni so hu say sɛ obi na hyɛ n'akyi nipa bi na hyɛ n'akyi ɛna ɛka kyɛn sɛ ɔnyɛ deɛ ɔyɛ no na onim sɛ ɛnyɛ nokorɛ korogye ɛna ɛma deɛ ɔyɛ deɛ na wanhwɛ yɛ a ɔno ankasa wobɛ end up in jail because you cannot deceive the court, you cannot basically lie under oath. These are very important things this young lady needs to know. But I would love her to come out and then the hospital to come out with all the evidence to prove her case. As a nation, we will all make sure say Imrana Ayejuma. If you want to also know her Facebook page, the official Facebook page, so that maybe you want to reach out to her and help her because Matisse management and I'm on the phone. Maybe some people would like to support her as a young lady. The Facebook, the TikTok, right now she's a public individual. Only Rejoice Botei, our 4.1K friends, studied at Valley View University, went to Krobo Girls Presbyterian High School, lives in Accra, Ghana. From Accra, into the page, you can go there, send her some message and tell her, say, you are very sorry about what happened. You are supporting her. She should make sure her stories are consistent and that Ghana food dinechi on kind of kreno na yenina yenkwenim. So this is a Rejoice. The official Facebook page, people can go there and just talk to her. Don't go and harass her. Just if you have any message, heartwarm message, you can send to her and tell her you are supporting her, you are behind her. She should just make sure, say, she sticks to her statement. The facts are there, the evidence. May I sure say, Ralph Mosso will have to talk to his lawyer and let us know. At the end of the day, we will all get to that point and get to the truth. Thank you very much. And Rejoice, then the profile Bremo as a nurse, maybe sometimes obi nimno. For all you know, she's a very good nurse. People don't really know Ejuma Waye, any the time of school, any the kind of friends. We are going to show everybody who she is because we need to know. This is somebody I don't come out to us obey Ejuma Ghana. So we need to go back and get to know Ejuma Waye, the ethics to saying how she does a job. Ejuma baby Waye Ejuma school or choir. We need to also bring people to that level, the family, the background, where she's from. Ne mama ne papa. We need to let the world know. Say, sebio onfi efifumu. And nipa hunu bi netete no or ye Ghana ni a ono so tu no say obey Ejuma Ghana. We need to protect her. So we are going to put all these things aside. We are going to put her phone number out if you want to reach her for more clarity and a lot of things. So we will also help and move this case forward. That is how it's going to go now.
So beka asam no esi ye na no nurse ni no interview na e pop ya no. The nensa ehya ye Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association General Secretary Yewura Tenkran na ono mom ena ekwohye ma sa video no eba out no wie ye ne interviews bia wo grant ye na ade no ena media no so the people nam edi nkomo say one taking the time e was say konya abotire edi nkomo say e was say konya abotire because hospital no e won panyimfo a omu eda no enti wo na wo ye secretary e de ma association no emi kwa say nka wo rush koho ekoye nurse ni no interview ekeka nsem bi ni adabuna ye hwade.
So we are here this morning to solidarize with you, first of all, to visit you and see how you are doing. We have already met management. We've met the hospital director. Thankfully, the regional director of health services also joined the meeting, and we just finished with them. After seeing you, we will meet all nurses and midwives at the Rich Hospital, and then we'll take such remedial steps. They have assured us that they'll do everything possible to make sure that we recover fully and also apprehend the culprits. But that said, we as a union will also take the necessary steps to safeguard the interests of all nurses and midwives, and for that matter, all health workers. We want you to know that an attack on one nurse or midwives attack on every nurse or every midwife in Ghana, and by extension, all health workers, because we are here to offer such essential services to the Ghanaian, and if they will not cooperate with us, okay, to be able to receive such essential service from us, then we need to let them know that we ought to be safe to save them. All right, I've been saying that we are not drawn from the army, where they swear an oath to protect the territorial integrity of Ghana at the expense of their life. We ought to be safe to save our patients. So if we scan the environment and we are not satisfied with the measures so far put together by management, we will take such steps to safeguard the interests of our members. Sure. Because we are clothed by law that in case that the environment in which you find yourself is not safe, your life and your health is not safe, you have every right to remove yourself from that environment.
After nkuma we na oni nurse ni ko di ye no, e na osa call radio so e koye interviewer. Utie ne nkasa ye nimu kwa na ase oni Minister of Health no yebra akando e wo problem.
The fact that the whole thing came on social media, the young man was throwing his weight about in the hospital, which as a sector minister, you should know that that is not how things must be done at the hospital. The guy should have been arrested there and then. And I told you that the minister is always followed by a police officer. And therefore, if we have the wherewithal, if we think that things ought to be done rightly and properly, the guy should have been apprehended there and then. And don't forget that there's a police post just by the mortuary of Rich Hospital. They could have called for reinforcement. If you think that the duty of the police officer is just to protect the minister, that's fine. But while they were interacting with the guy, they could have called the police to come and apprehend him. How many minutes will it take for some police officer to even run from the mortuary of Rich Hospital to where they were standing?
Does the GRNMA have issues with the health minister?
We cannot have issues with our sector minister, but we think that we are not being treated fairly as nurses and midwives in Ghana. And you know that we have a lot of issues.
Under his tenure?
Not only, I mean, we have had a myriad of issues, but I mean, if you declare a strike action and a minister can decide that you go for a retired nurses and midwives to come and work and try to instigate groups that are within your fraternity that are not aligned with you to step in and all that, it tells you clearly that this is not somebody who is prepared to work with you.
So it's a lot of pent-up emotions, right? Because it looks like you're carrying. some.
Our action is not premised on any emotive.
Yeah. So as I was saying,
that we have issues at hand that ought to be discussed,
okay,
or issues at hand that ought to be resolved. I mean, if somebody goes to beat up a nurse, what is emotion about it? There is
so the question I was asking,
that emotion caused against me this morning.
Well,
I think that what has happened is very wrong. Everywhere, meaning Ghanaians must condemn it.
So I'm asking again, because I asked you whether you have any issues with the minister, considering your tone, and then you mentioned that I asked you whether it's under his tenure, because you talked about nurses not being treated fairly, and then I asked whether it's under his tenure, and you mentioned that you have issues with regard to your conditions of service, and he had said that he was going to be called in retired nurses to step in while they try and resolve the matter, and you have issues with that. You believe that some of your conditions were not entirely resolved, but I thought you had made some progress where there was an agreement to give you some portion of that of those conditions, and then the subsequent ones will also be included in the 2026 budget. Or you didn't make progress. That's the reason you called off your strike, no?
Absolutely, but we're thinking that even in August, some of the items could feature. I hope you heard what the Minister of Finance sat on Joy FM, PM Express to
I don't know. I don't know what he said.
You may not listen. You might have not have listened to it. The minister said he wasn't briefed by the sector minister about the concerns of nurses and midwives. That should clearly tell you that if what he said is anything to go by, somebody somewhere is refusing to advocate for the well-being of the ordinary Ghanaian.
Doc, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, my dear sister.
You heard us engage Dr. Tinkran. He is the General Secretary of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. You're still listening to the Morning Star here on Star 10.
It's not as a Kamia say strike a nurse for call ya abandon mukasa no. Still na osha omubu ento muyam. Ebuja asam no akodru kavintela animu biem. Na we no eye enra reaction na oyeye.
That's the first question you ask. Who is in charge? Who is in charge of the hospital? In fact, some person we are very, very honest. You ask yourself, the first question you ask and say, that moment, who was in charge of the shifts? Because you start from the bottom and you start to read it to the top. It's Assembly Sianajua, who is in charge of the night shift? Who is in charge, or who was in charge of the afternoon shift? Who was in charge of the morning shift? So then you start to break the matter down. Then you get to know who is responsible or whose responsibility was it to make sure this was actually curtailed. But this man, who is the General Secretary of an association. And let us not get this wrong. The Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwifery Association, it is like any other association in Ghana. It is a Ghana Tomatoes Union Association. It is a Molokoko Sellers Association. It is a Mampam Association. It is a Ghana Bar Association. An association. Remember, the Minister of Health, he is overseeing 71 associations under his ministry. 71 unions. 71. And this is one minister with his deputy overseeing the activities of 71 unions under his office. And you are the secretary of an association. What do you do first? You first ask, who is in charge? Now, this is what happened. My member video now you share strategically, interestingly. The video that was put out there is the only video making headlines, making rounds. Say, Ralph and now for a year rage, they actually went to brutalize a nurse. And this is the man who started this campaign. Remember, the president of the Ghana Registered Nurses Association, Midwives Association, Sama Ameno, Nikunu MPP chairman. This guy is her deputy. This guy is her general secretary. Now, this guy started a campaign, and that campaign was straightforward, geared towards the minister. And you ask yourself, why? Now, minister, no, Edding. Na minister, na ya, and the Assemblea Hospital, the management of the hospital has been left out. The board has been left out. But straightforward, the minister is the one being questioned. Now, the so-called video, this man and his group, the whole Ghana say, this is the confrontation and the assault at Seawall Ridge Hospital. And I know you have watched it. There's a reason why I want to play this video. Let's watch this. Statement, Joe.
On Monday morning, I sent a delegation to Ridge Hospital to ascertain the situation. When the delegation came back, upon debriefing, I realized that I had to follow up. And ladies and gentlemen, let me state this, that I have the health workers of this country at heart. And so any attempt by any individual or any group of people to try to incite the health professionals against government, pretending he cares more than us, is unfortunate. And we must stop that. It's an avoidable tension we must avoid. It doesn't help the sector. If indeed you are a practicing health professional in the sector, it doesn't help the sector. And so, when the delegation came back, I had to follow up. I was in the company with the Deputy Director General and other directors of the ministry. We joined the medical superintendent at the Ridge Hospital, and I visited the victims. After going around, we had a closed-door meeting to discuss the issues, not insults. One, how to look at beefing on the internal security, staffing issues. So, after the closed-door meeting, I came out to address the press to categorically condemn the physical attack. And that is the most important aspect.
So, Minister Asamoah Kenyina said, "Assembly see no, Ejuada, otu nipa ote no because minister no office no any rage and what on a normal day the minister is not supposed to go there and you know no. The management of the hospital are supposed to take care of this, and then if they have to write a report to their superiors, they write it, and if it has to go up to get to whoever has to take the necessary action, it is not the job of the minister. But approximation, baby, an office no one hospital no one, Into ɔte asɛm no ɔte ne mframa mu no ɔse no otu nipa sɛ monkɔ hɔ na monkɔ assess situation na mobɛma me report. It is not even my duty to go there because somebody is being paid to make sure say this hospital is run efficiently. Now delegation they came to tell the minister say this is what we went to find, and the minister said I want to go there myself and find out what exactly is going on. I want to see it with my naked eye. It's minister now ekoye onante call hospital, Ridge Hospital. And remember, minister because I say on the deputy director of the hospital no kaho and a medical superintendent ne kaho. That means the ministers no koye no na sa nurse no na oho. Remember, sansem we nyina asi no na ye won kofo a ye the hospital na show monsa, they have to make sure the right things are done. Ridge Hospital almost security. Yes or no? Yes. Ridge Hospital almost a management on standby in case there's an emergency. Yes or no? Yes. Ridge Hospital, your senior doctors when even there is some kind of confrontation between junior nurses, senior nurses, or whatever, they can step in, directors within. Yes. So the question here is, if anything like that happens, now Minister Kreniwa, report Benny Troy, who was in charge of that. Now, if this guy goes to a Ridge Hospital, who is the first person he's supposed to see? Or say, or a secretary of just an association that is not backed by any federal law. It's just a mere association. It is also a doctor wako school onim nyansa no. Owura hospital what first no. Who did he consult? Who did he talk to? What report did he read? For him to come to that conclusion, to go sit on radio to start insulting the minister. Remember, the minister, so Papa or a doctor. I'm sorry, team. I got the old picture. Papa was a doctor. Also, TSS said the employer is the minister in charge of that sector. So his employer is Honorable Akando. I don't know whether he's a practicing lawyer, a doctor or not, but also a doctor or practitioner. Now say, the Ministry of Health asia. It means to say, this guy, his boss or their employer is the Minister of Health. Now, some say crazy. What will make you the employee? Go on radio and speak this way. Oko radio so one. Or cabro fobako. Any ebusan say, oh. Na assembly see no. Diana omo eka for say, oh, na minister no onam ho no. Some police need in echi. Ade na minister no call do ho na the police need in echi. Ade wa ma police ni no anche. Ralph mo e police station ho. We oyakwasea we Jimmy. Onim nyansa. Every police officer in Ghana, you are signing with Juma. These are the fools wearing suit in Ghana. They need say every police officer, you are signing with Juma or Ghana. Said the minister here, it is your responsibility to protect the minister. It is not your responsibility to go to another jurisdiction and make an arrest. So your police ni kwana woda bank ano. Nasa robbery air so bank nim nipa mienu ko na hu a. It is not your responsibility to go there and arrest. Your job is to stay at the bank and give that bank protection. The police will come and take care of that. Into where Jimmy Krano, one kasa na also say, hospital one are your police depot. It is a hospital or the police depot or mortuary inside. Some morgan in China hospital or police depot. Whose responsibility is it? Our hospital or to make sure say police officers from that morgue, police station or morgue in China, abe arrest. Or your politics now. And I'm going to talk to the young nurses in Ghana. This guy, he is using young nurses on the politics. And Obama calls Subusa and say, as me see. Na only health minister or problem ana. Oh, I said na Obusa me say, any problem ya. And also, Sibia o kasa no tone no. And also, na unya obi na se okọ strike na okachira wo say or kwakofa retired nurses ema obe ye adwuma no abra on mo discussion sa nipa nyansa be no onim because onim say ye ne retired nurses ne nya fine adentina ono minister ne kofa omo. So it means say the all ye nyina no is because of what happened early on. And an Adrian said this is when he has to make the minister unpopular. Indeed, the agenda is not about what happened at the hospital. The agenda is to direct the pressure on the minister for people to think the minister is not doing his job. He's just a mere association secretary.
So Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association General Secretary ni interviews Hawaii na enra osa kopie mu ewo UTV.
As a situation no I politically tainted because in semi by me say na mo president Madam Perpetua yes Madam Perpetua no or political party way and also the way I own minister kasa no minister grant as a why saying the way I kasa say I kasa say professional me catch the messages no I really have to scan through at him the day half
no man say no dey
it's a man for Philly say GRNMA no I politically tainted.
Okay mama ntro enye no kre
all right
GRNMA no yet in 1960 that's why we are so relevant because we are apolitical. The constitution say obey a leader and as a leader you have to be apolitical irrespective of your political inclination. And me di ka catch us say 2020 a call strike almost say NDC for
okay
na Mr. Mahama his excellency ne and wa free akoshe baby akoma $5 million. In fact media almost be NDC ni and made that time and you know any a done year you say me president so e kuru constituency whatever and you know so me nu aba national council na take decision association net president and general secretary take decision national council 29 members don't main fans no be into about but sani atie no ho untimi me politics ho and na nurse for no do no ebi wa ha bi so
but everybody has a price
exactly so and for your NDC for mu MPP for now person do o kan na wo kwa line a sani na ekuo no person ogu no e just answer no de on beka me opa atwen ye mmom pa de nyankopon man kwa na sesebe aban sesa parese bia say 8 years old say 20 years aban sesa the same thing say eguso ho na yeti ana say leaders bia wo bia obi fa ekwa bia so ye ka say omoye politically tainted and no dey who say Ghana ha no ye pese ida say de obegina ha na say de obegina ha but am for pese omu di watem and no ye nya de o se ha de a je say we NDC and no say Kevin Taylor and odi matem fine mani apotwe no ne ade a but then the normal is one of the hazards of the trade. Now meaning about your friend is saying ube di efu anim no wasuru so dia na je so ntimi
na ne nkoma okodi ye no e na asa spark Kevin Taylor se enra mabeka nsem we akyerew na se still na no wantie dia ene esom na de ebei ewo
Enti Jimmy Fourway was basically out of chains and speaking like a madman. Now, after a year Endra story no, about this guy and his boss, the two criminals are Omunam Ghana, Eyo say Omudie, Omunimishi, but they are under a lot of things, sir. Ubianim di Omoye. Now, this guy, Anope Ekotena UTV. Now, Okotena UTV, no, Oko say your interview, no. Now, throughout his interview, no, Debbie Amekache Ghana for, and I keep telling the young nurses in Ghana, these people, they are using you to make money. Akwawe, send the Muyini Free was the General Secretary of Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives, whatever. He has nothing to do, or just a nurse. Or yet, somebody, or any party or a nurse. He is making money because of this association. Sende, okay, say on resigning free association moi or no be kontokwa. You know why? Because association, no, and then the cash cow. That is where he make his billions through visa, through exchange programs. That is how he make his money. Say GRNMA, say GRNMA, say watoka adem, a association no and amana be obi. He is not better than any nurse at a Rage Hospital, at Kolebu, at any clinic in any village. This guy is not better than any nurse. But you see, they see something. The association and a bit more nurses. Inti problem neba, you the nurses will take the hit. They will sit in Accra and make money out of you. And when we started exposing them, you see a nurse for who send for way for and use them to make money. No, now they are jittery. And in the process of trying to explain themselves, they are rather shooting themselves in the foot so many times, and they are exposing their lies. And this guy went on UTV. And this guy went to UTV to lie about everything he has been saying all this while. So it has been a calculated attempt to malign and insult the minister who is his employer. If this guy is a practicing nurse, the person who plays this fool is the Minister of Health, because he has to talk to the Accountant General for this guy to be paid. But this fool sat on radio and insulted the minister, so and he went ahead to insult farmers. And you should get the picture. Now, Osari Adopeno, he wanted to go do some damage control. And because he's a liar, because or no, any the boss now, your president, they are two political affiliate. You see, they are politicians. All because NPP, NDC bar power no, they are not ajima menu muye momo, omutoto to tokas momo as directors of a association. Because Akando is not doing the traditional way of things. Akando Otumiko Hospital without telling anybody he's coming there. Akando is asking questions. Akando wants to sit with them and negotiate and get to a consensus whereby so omu dismandi bibi krampa, it should be reasonable. No, omu de Akando ato otankruum. So they want every small thing so that they will jump on it and disgrace the man. But in the process of doing that, we are beginning to see how foolish this guy is. Wait, appetition. And I'm to say, my team, they were telling me, sir, or to UTV say me dinner time. Now where Jimmy you do atem? Where Jimmy into what it GRNMA was a day, ultra letter. Now say another person tell me because a letter in Nyanse di ma. Kwasi ampenyi to say okra. Just an association that you lead. So who release the letter? As the secretary of this association, now say obitam letter no radio so, and not TV so, no already letter na say nyanse bi anima kwasi akra te sawo, you'll be angry. You will come and say the person does not respect you and also the office you occupy. So when a minister releases a letter, na kwasi te sawo kotena radio so ka say na nyanse bi animu no, now wono what kind of respect do you demand from me? Oya ojimi fo. We are Jimmy for for you to insult the minister's letter, say you are not fit to occupy that office. And then they will release a statement to nurses for Ghana. Na nurse ni ba kubi kotina radio say na statement we general secretary kan de nyanse bi anima kwase ate so because yempam nurse no. Anamwa, but you expect me, somebody who is intelligent than you, somebody who is more resourceful than you. You are just a mere association secretary. You are nobody. You are just an appetition, filthy, red-eye idiot who is capitalizing on the ignorance of some people in an association to make money. And that is what I am trying to let the people know. Into one cherubia, in fact, Sagana and Nyansa and a Sa association way, you should have resigned by now. But because your president, she is equally as dumb and ignorant and very political like you, that's why she's looking at you, because Moti association when I'm making money. That is why she is looking at you, because Obos, her husband is the chairman of the opposition party. So you people think say you can use your office to do damage. Unimunyansa we Jimmy. Unimunyansa ba kokra. Wano asem na cheso we Jimmy for, because association and nurse for joining If a nurse comes out to speak the way you spoke, you fool like you will come out and discipline the nurse. So why are you still in your position? You are a fool. Now, let me go and show you natural. Team, stay with me. First, maybe I try Odini first. Or call UTV and then sa petuo we ne nisa petuo. We nisa petuo. We nisa petua or de ahoma esha paniem. I'm finding brabby or free. When Nisa Petuo Telania or Yahumasha Edisha Pinmu. When Nisa Petuo Telani. When Nisa Petuo Telani, Petuo Saya Telania, where Yahuma Odisha Pinmu, when Nisa Petuo or free. Ujisi Jimmy Meboa Association Keke into Ube Pejo Pejo Abeti. when you say petua or the ahumashe, petua telenia or the ahumashe pinmu, or free. Listen to me. Also, I'm pamon, and I'll stay on you because association I say when you say petuo, unim petuo, and now come the dima temo Twitter pa, and I guys say now, why did I do that? And thank you, Mr. S. I could be the dima Twitter because come I say be or sim me masusa petukura. But say hey, no, I'd grade did who say masusa petukura. By Ampamaka say, look, okay, I'm going to show myself. Hey, some is happy to grow, be also happy to craft fucking. Hey, Aquabi, because be a friend say, let me go on my Twitter and find hey, Aquano. Okay, just tell me, my sister happy to cry. Mimboni, the answer, I'm a famous dodo, but I'm looking for the insult. I know, my mister fucking me. Why would I tell that mister? Say, I could be some sister happy to cry. Hey, Mimboni, the Aquano Twitter, or could you matter? And I'm I'm going to show you. Aquana Po, Aquana Master Petucra. Oh, when this a petuo tell me. Aquana some Master Petucra. Hey, every what we did my tempo.
And you'll be any Kumanchi, Buesi Akona, Emma Edinity, Aji Achema, Internet, and he did they rejoice. I was a Ralph, I assorted no. I was there, we see Ralph 7 million Ghana cities. It is kind of 70 billion. Yabes say, we dear, a boy for more, said my friend offer. Ewe kurase no eni diem ozo so fra wo de hie bi anase obusua ne bi na ye nyina ye mo raf because 70 billion kila betua anase wontua wadwen kire ewom ene sei kila betua ana wontua Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association General Secretary Yera Tim Kran so eja wanya afri Kevin Taylor akache no be biem e de amount feel free na che wadwen na wi a bomoden se wo be share amanu ya bi sa etumi aka medin e de AJ aha AJ Gossips Macra.